Hey friends, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. We are just gonna have some tea together. Well, mine is tea. Maybe you wanna get some coffee, or depending on the time of day, maybe a glass of wine. We're gonna chat about a whole bunch of Disney topics. I'm gonna share a little bit with you about some changes to my upcoming travel plans, and I'm gonna answer some of your questions. So yeah, settle in. I'm really glad that you're here. So I did this last month, and oh my word, I thought it was so much fun just to have a cup of coffee and chat with you guys about a variety of different Disney topics. I feel like there's always things that I want to talk to you guys about that I don't necessarily want to devote a whole video to. So this way I can do these chats monthly. I can combine all of the different things I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about fun things like what I'm watching on Disney Plus, upcoming travel plans, and then I'm always going to take questions from you guys. Now, the way you can submit a question is if you follow me on Instagram. Before I do these videos, I'm always going to put a call out over there for questions, and I'll be choosing 3 questions every month, and I'll be giving you a shout out here. So go ahead and head over to Instagram. Make sure you're following me there. And also, it's a really fun place to just talk to you guys. And I post daily over there, so I would love to see you. And I'm just really looking forward to these monthly kind of, what should we call them? Disney coffee chats? I don't know. A few things I want to talk about today. There's actually been a lot of Disney news in the last couple of weeks, and if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I'm not like a breaking Disney news channel, right? I talk about Disney things as I find them important, but I'm never gonna be the one that's like, oh, you heard it here first. That's just not who I am. However, since Disney has reopened, I do have some thoughts I want to share about the reopening. Oh, I didn't show you my mug of the day. I want to make sure I always show you my mug of the day because I have plenty of Disney mugs that I think I can go for quite some time using a different Disney mug every month. But this one is my Mary Poppins mug. It's pink inside. It's this beautiful white porcelain, and it has, of course, the parrot from her umbrella handle as the handle of the mug, and I just love it. I love the feet on it. This mug just makes me really, really happy. Oh, and our tea today is calm chamomile, which, I mean, you know, it's always a good time for me, especially now. Calm chamomile is always a good idea. So what were we talking about? Oh, Disney news. Nice segue. We've had a few things canceled, a few Epcot plans dialed back. The 2 things that stuck out to me the most were the cancellation of the Mary Poppins attraction that was oh so vaguely announced at last year's D23. I don't know what they were planning on doing with that. I never did kind of figure out, was it a carousel? Was it a dark ride? What exactly were we doing with Mary Poppins? No idea. But no matter what it was, I was excited for Mary to have her own spotlight in the parks, which I think she has deserved for a very long time. She kind of had with the Great Movie Ride, but now that went away. So I was really looking forward to seeing what they came up with. So now that that's not happening, I'm sad. However, I do understand budgets, and I understand that Disney is a for-profit company that answers to their shareholders, and boy oh boy have they taken a hit because of the great unpleasantness. So I think all of us kind of, we get it, right? We're mature adults, we understand how business works. The other big plan that has been postponed is the refurbishment of Spaceship Earth. Now personally, I was really looking forward to the refurbishment of Spaceship Earth. I feel like they had amazing plans. My friend Shane, that's a cast member, said he had seen some of the ideas and it was going to be truly incredible. So I'm a little bummed out about that, but at the same time, I'm not sad that now I know I have time with my girl Dame Judi Dench for a little bit longer, and I can hear her tell me to thank the Phoenicians for maybe a couple more years. And you know what? I am not going to complain about that. Things that are moving forward are things that were already well under construction, like the Tron ride and the Ratatouille ride, which, you guys, I rode that ride in France, and it is just très magnifique, as they say. That was so corny. I gotta take a sip of tea because every time I say something overly corny, I think I have to take a sip of tea. So yeah, you know, things happen, plans change. I think especially now during the period of great unpleasantness, we all understand that. We get it, and we just have to move forward, and it is disappointing, but you know what? It's all okay. So another bit of Disney news is that the Wine and Dine has been canceled. Now, what Disney has said officially is we have changed it to a virtual race. And although I appreciate the virtual race piece of it, the reality is Wine and Dine has been canceled. Personally, I would not pay the kind of money Disney is wanting for a virtual race. I think that's completely ridiculous. I know a lot of people are really motivated by virtual races. I'm not really one of them. They're not really my thing. If it's your thing, I am so supportive of that decision. But I also completely understand the decision to cancel Wine and Dine. I really wondered from the very beginning how that was even going to be possible. To be frank, I have questions about the future of RunDisney, period. I just don't know how big races are going to continue to move forward until we have a vaccine. Those of you that have run a big race understand you cannot socially distance. It's not humanly possible. I don't think you can expect people to wear a mask, certainly not for a half marathon or a full marathon. So I think it will be interesting to see what happens with RunDisney. I am, speaking of RunDisney, currently registered for the Star Wars half marathon in April. Now, I say I'm registered even though registration hasn't already opened because I did purchase a package with my best running friend Sarah through a travel agent. So we have guaranteed race entry, and I have mixed feelings. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I wanted to make sure if it is going to happen that I was there because we were supposed to run it this last April when it was canceled. But yeah, I'm not clear on how RunDisney is going to continue to happen, and I'm a little concerned about one of my favorite running franchises. So we'll just have to wait and see. Like with so many things right now, right? We're just gonna have to wait and see. So now let's move on to something a little more fun. Instead of cancellation news and plans being thwarted, let's talk about what I'm watching on Disney Plus right now. So there were 3 things that really stood out to me this month. Of course, Hamilton, and I've watched it all the way through now twice, and then I also watch it when I'm on the treadmill. Y'all, it is such a great movie to watch. Well, I guess it's a musical, but in the movie form, is such a great thing to watch when you're on the treadmill because it's inspiring and it's motivating and the songs are fast-paced and it really gets you moving. But having never seen Hamilton until I saw it on Disney Plus, I have to say, I was stunned at the power of Eliza Hamilton. Like, that was the story of all of it that really stood out to me. And I won't spoil it if you haven't seen Hamilton yet, but there are a couple of songs in there, one in particular that she and Hamilton do together. The performances are amazing. The story is it just gets you right in your heart. And the little 1.5 minutes at the very end of the musical where they talk about what Eliza Hamilton did after her husband passed I was just mesmerized. I ugly cried. Like, I didn't even ugly cry during the song that you would think that I would ugly cry. I ugly cried when it talked about the things that this woman did. This is a great time for all of us, I think, to be reflecting on our lives and be thinking about what do we want to be remembered for. And we're not always going to be, Eliza Hamilton, but really to look at how we're making our choices and think, what kind of mark do I want to leave? And I know I'm not the only one thinking that way right now, and maybe because I just turned 50 last week, but that is, it was just very powerful to me. So definitely Hamilton. Speaking of inspiration, I'm also on episode 3 of Into the Unknown, the making of Frozen 2. And that has been surprisingly amazing, you guys. Now, I have to just tell you right from the beginning, I'm not the biggest Frozen 2 fan. I liked the film. I didn't love the film. I thought there were a couple of really good songs. Some of the plot points didn't really land for me. But watching Into the Unknown has changed my perspective on that film. Jennifer Allen, who wrote Frozen and then wrote Frozen 2, what an amazing powerhouse. Single mom. And, that story is what kind of comes out to me. There's this one scene in particular, I think it was in episode 2, where they're showing the trailer and Kristen Bell and Jennifer Allen are together and they're in the control room and Kristen Bell's standing behind Jennifer Allen and she's kind of playing with her hair and massaging her back. And women understand women friendship, and watching the two of them together, I was like, oh my gosh, like these women really have each other's backs. And it's just been such an amazing documentary to watch. The amount of work that goes in, like, not like we didn't know that there wasn't a lot of work that goes into a Disney film, but just next level. So if you're needing some inspiration, those two things for sure. Now, If you're needing some nostalgia, especially if you're a 1970s girl like me, you're going to want to watch The Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World. And yes, it is the new Mickey Mouse Club, which had amazing people like Lisa Whelchel in it and just the whole gang. It's a little odd, both in its pacing and also in how some of the young women are very, but overly sexualized. That part's kind of odd, but it was the 70s, folks. And so just watching it through the lens of 2020, there's some weird things, but it does give some amazing vintage shots at Walt Disney World, especially, they were over at River Country and Fort Wilderness. So if you're kind of a vintage Walt Disney World fan, you definitely want to check out The Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World on Disney+. Okay, now I have really, really big channel news to share with you guys. And I have to tell you, June was so much fun for me here on the channel. I donated all of my June proceeds to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and I announced it on several places that I was doing it. Yes, I did lose a few subscribers because of that choice, which was very strange to me, but that's okay, because if you're watching, then you're probably not one of them, so we don't need to talk about that. But I was very proud to be able to choose that organization because they really focus on education, they focus on defending people that can't afford a good attorney. They focus on scholarships. The NAACP does so many different amazing things I didn't even realize they did. I also said that Scott and I would make up that 30% for those of you that did Super Chat, because that is the percentage that YouTube takes. So I would like to formally announce, and I will put a screenshot right here of their confirmation email, that we were able to donate $3,000 this morning to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. The most money I had ever made in 1 month from AdSense revenue was $700. So the fact that this month I made almost $2,400 and then Scott and I were able to round that up to $3,000 is completely mind-blowing to me. So if you watched more videos than usual, if you watched more ads than usual, if you super chatted, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It actually made June just such a fulfilling month for me in the midst of some, it could have been discouraging and depressing, but instead it was just really fulfilling. And when I would sit down to film videos, I really felt like I had purpose. And, days when I didn't feel like doing it, I was like, no, I need to go film a video because we want to make sure that we raise more money. So thank you so much. You'll notice I made the donation in Scott's name, and that's because we are trying to work with his company. We're fairly sure we're going to be able to do a match, which would turn that $3,000 donation into a $6,000 donation. So fingers crossed, I think we met all the requirements for that. So he'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. But just thank you to everybody that watched, to everybody that gave. It was such a group effort. And I think moving forward, I'm going to devote every June to some not-for-profit that I want to give to. And it just took it next level. It was just a lot of fun. So thank you to everybody. Okay, I also want to share just a really quick channel update when it comes to live streams. The channel, as you guys know, has really, really grown. I have loved that it has grown, but the live streams have become less and less comfortable to me, not because of you guys, but because as we've grown, there's just a lot more people on there, and I'm just one woman and I don't have a team. It's just me. And so for the time being, I am moving all of my live streams over to my Patreon. Now, Patreon, you can join for as little as $5 a month. We do monthly live streams. We're getting ready to do one on the 31st. So if you are one of those viewers that really loves my live streams, I'll leave a link right here so you can go join us over on Patreon. And I just need to kind of get those to be in a smaller, more private group. I'm sure you guys understand that. My stress level doing the live streams was just through the roof. I wasn't comfortable, but when I do them on Patreon, there's usually less than 100 of us on there, and it just feels a lot more comfortable. So if you're someone that is really invested in the channel, wants to see the live streams, then definitely consider subscribing. There's all kinds of other exclusive content I do over there, and I would love to see you there. All right, now let's move on to your questions. Now, I only picked 3. Now, you guys sent in so many great questions. And actually, the questions are topics that I kind of wanted to talk about anyway. So it works really, really well that you guys, as always. You guys are just the best. You ask the best questions. So I'm going to share the 3 that I chose. This first one is from Maple Leaf Mouse on Instagram. And Maple Leaf Mouse wants to know, what will it take for you to go back to Disney World? What about getting on a plane? So I thought this question was really interesting. A couple other people phrased it a little bit differently. What will it take for you and your family to feel safe going back to Walt Disney World? So let me answer the plane question first, because I think some of you know my husband is an airline pilot. I have seen firsthand how his airline has been disinfecting the airplanes. His airline is still not allowing anyone to sit in the center seats. They do this kind of fogging thing that they do. And I have to tell you, I feel very safe flying. I feel a little less safe about the actual airports. I feel completely safe about the airplanes themselves. The airports I will be flying very soon, but I do plan on taking a lot of precautions. One thing I think we all need to remember is you can choose where you go with your body. And as you walk into a particular situation, you can always hold back or move forward or move to the side and try to maintain that social distancing. I will, of course, be wearing my mask when I travel and taking all the precautions, but I'm almost there. I actually have a flight scheduled in October, and I absolutely plan on moving forward with that. Now, Walt Disney World, how do I feel about that? I would say I'm a little less secure about Walt Disney World than I am about flying, but I think that they are doing an excellent job. All of the reports that I've seen, the sanitation has been great. Guest compliance so far seems to be very good. I'm planning on going to Disney World in October. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. And if it does happen, I don't know if it will be a resort only trip or if I will feel comfortable going into the parks. So we are just going to have to wait and see. I think as the days go by, I am realizing that I can't just stay in this house forever. I am going to have to start venturing out with appropriate precautions and doing the best that I can. The reality is there is no form of travel that's completely safe, because I'm 6.5 hours from Orlando, so I could technically drive, but I also tend to get really drowsy when I drive. This is a solo trip for me, so that is maybe not the safest option because of other reasons, right? Because the great unpleasantness isn't the only threat we have out there. And risk assessment is a funny thing. You have to really weigh all the pros and cons of the different options. And I right now, I would say I'm about a 75% that I am planning on going to Walt Disney World in October. So we will just have to wait and see what happens. And I'm not sure that we can ever say we'll feel completely safe until we have a vaccine. I personally will not be waiting until we have a vaccine. I have an autoimmune disease, but it is not one that puts me at higher risk for COVID. My doctor feels comfortable with me traveling. So we'll just take it a day at a time. And right now, that's all any of us can do, right? Yep. All right, this next one is from my realtor, Melissa D, and I'll put her Instagram right here. Would you buy DVC right now if you got a great deal and had the cash? I'm in my 10-day window to back out. Well, of course, I loved this question because anytime we can talk Disney Vacation Club, I am in. And the answer is, yeah, I would, because I did. And you guys may know I am in right of first refusal right now. I think we're on like day 36 or 37. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be hearing any day now that we passed right of first refusal for our 100-point Old Key West contract. We actually had planned on buying about another 200 points. We scaled that back due to some financial changes with COVID-19. But if you have the cash, and if that's something you've always wanted to do, there are a lot of great contracts on the market right now, and prices are very, very good. Prices are better than I've seen them in a couple of years. So don't be afraid to start looking at the different, resale options. I would not be buying direct from Disney right now. I just don't think there's any reason to spend the extra money. I don't see Disney prices going up direct from Disney in the next couple of years. I could be wrong on that, but now is a great time, in my opinion, to buy through the resale market. So yes, Melissa, I absolutely think you made a great decision to make an offer on a contract. Good luck getting through right of first refusal. Make sure you're prepared. And if you're interested in my entire video where I talked about the process of making an offer and getting our money together and all of that for our resale contract, you can go right here. Okay, and then this third question I really loved. This is from Mom with the Good Hair. By the way, great username. Mom with the Good Hair says, are you more of a ride person or an experienced person in the parks? And if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, I think you already know the answer to this. I am an experienced person, which is probably why I'm a little more ready to go back to Disney than maybe some other people would be. Because if I don't get to ride any rides at all, I am A-okay with that. I have an annual pass, which by the way was just extended an extra month. Those of you with annual passes, you may want to check that out. Mine was extended until February. And I am just super excited just to be there, to walk around, to take in the smells and the sights and the music. I'm not even sure that I'm going to be okay eating in restaurants by the time I go in October. I may still be feeling safer with just eating outside, but experience all the way. If you told me you were going to pay for my Disney trip, but the only caveat was I couldn't ride any rides, would I still go? Yes, 100% yes. And by the way, let me just say in my own defense, tea sipping, hold please. I was this way forever. Like this is not a new thing for me since, now that I've turned 50 or was in my 40s or whatever. I've been that way since I was a little girl. I always loved, my mom used to do the shopping pass at Disney World or at Disneyland where you could go in and you could go into the shops and you didn't have to buy park admission. We used to do that at Knott's Berry Farm. Southern California people, you know what I'm talking about. We would get fried chicken. But the really well-themed areas, I just like being there. And the resorts, I just like being there. Rides are great, but they're honestly not the main reason I go to Walt Disney World. So experience all the way. Well, I hope you guys thought this was fun. We had a lot of fun things to talk about, a lot of good news to talk about, and that's really what I want these coffee talks to be, a time where we can just get together, talk about Disney Vacation Club, and not worry about the great unpleasantness. Let's just think forward. Let's think about the future. Let's think about all those great travel and Disney memories that we have yet to make in the years to come. I hope you and your family are doing really well, and I hope that you're being good to each other. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.